Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Little Pot of Horrors. My name's Gordon, and as always, I am joined with Mr. Boz. Hello, Boz.
Hello. Just
How
talk
are
over
you?
you. Great start.
That's fine, I'm talking over you now as well.
I'm still in fine voice, as you can hear.
How have you been?
Well, apart from the cold, not too bad.
Good.
Haven't done my homework though, I'm afraid,
That's absolutely fine.
on my watch list, but I will get to those soon.
Yes, this episode is going to be one, I think, where I'm going to be ending up talking a lot. So if you don't like the sound of my voice, turn off now. Otherwise, you'll be bored by the end of me going through my long rambling of movies. I'm not going to tell you what the main topic is, because that would just be spoiling it. And then you would just turn off if you didn't want to listen to. So, but before I get into that, let's just have a quick catch up, I guess, on kind of any movies that we've watched. I only really have one to talk about, which is an old one, but it's one that I watched again just to see if it kind of lived up to how much I loved it. And it's Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, I love that movie!
Awesome. Still holds up. I've watched it. I don't know how many times when I first got it on DVD, and it came on Netflix the other day. We watched it, and it's still, for me, it's still held up. It's still a bit hokey at the end.
Yeah. Up to about halfway, it is the perfect horror movie. It is just brilliant. I remember I saw it at the cinema when it came out, and again, just that. You find yourself just gripping the arms of your seat.
Yeah.
Especially going down that hole, and then, the bag moves, and you're like... Yeah, but I'm one of those people who... A lot of movies sort of... They don't always do the big payoff, or they lead you to thinking there's something nasty and gribbly going on, and actually it wasn't in the end. And do you know what? Sometimes I just like a really gratuitous shot of the bad guy in all his, slimy, clawy, killing glory. That rhymes. Do you know what I mean? I just like that. In your face sometimes.
I mean, it's done well. I mean, there's nothing to say that the effects and the makeup and everything's is not done well. It was all done really good, and I think, let's say, I don't know how old it is actually. I want to go with the 10 years, roughly.
Yeah, it's got to be near the 2000 mark.
Yeah, something like that.
2001, 2002, something like that.
'Cause I think it's before, I don't know if it's before Justin Long became a kind of big thing or not, pre-Apple guy or what. But I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch it and catch up with it again.
And I love the way the title is used at the end. Very often the title of film can be irrelevant. Well, this is one of those where you couldn't change the title.
Oh, no.
Because it's so integral to the plot,
But what I would tell people to avoid Jeepers Creepers 2.
Yeah.
I got excited about that when it came out, and I went out and bought it on first day on DVD and paid through the nose for it. Because I bought it from a store rather than online, and I was so disappointed. I think I had it back on sale on Amazon for like 2 days afterwards after I bought it. So I didn't just call it a loss, but yeah, I was very disappointed in the sequel, so just ignore the sequel. And I think there's even a 3. I could be wrong on that one. I'm going to quickly look that up. Yeah. I don't know where yes, there's a Jeepers Creepers 3 which is scheduled for 2013.
Oh no.
Yes.
You know who's going to be sad enough to go and see that, though?
Yeah, I know you are.
It's a horror film at the cinema. I've said this before. It's got to be done.
Yeah.
Actually, there's one that came out recently which I intended to go and watch. And I remember when I saw the trailers over and over again, I was like, it looks terrible, but they're still going to get my money.
Which one's that?
Actually, I was wrong, because I couldn't be asked.
Okay.
This time. I actually couldn't be asked. And that was the latest Resident Evil film.
All right, okay.
Because after the last one, I was just like, so disappointed. And then the trailers for this one came up. I can't remember what it's called. That's how interested I clearly was. And the bad guy with the sunglasses, I can't remember his name, Wesker, is it?
I have no idea.
And she's like, I'm going to kill you. And he's like, good luck. And I'm like, hold on. Did you not kill him a lot at the end of the last movie? I mean, she killed him a lot. It's like every movie, I'm back. There's like death isn't irrelevance in these films. It's just like, oh god.
I mean, I watched the first one and enjoyed it, and I think I actually bought it on DVD. It was at Walmart for $3-4 or whatever.
I like the first one.
And watched it again, and the first one was pretty good, but I haven't seen any of them since then. I think I tried to watch one that was on Netflix. I don't know where it fell into the whole timeline, but I just really couldn't get into it.
Well, the funny thing about the Resident Evil franchise is I had the first game on the my PlayStation 1. It it's the first game that ever managed to scare me, because you play it with the lights off.
Yep.
You know, you're walking down this corridor and a mutilated dog jumps through a window. I mean, it scared the bejesus out of me. So I was sort of super impressed, because it was like the first spooky computer game. But it got to a point where the game was just impossible, and this happens to me a lot with computer games, and then I rage quit and never go back to it again. So I never finished the first one, and I must have played 2 or 3 of the other iterations, but it always manages to wind me up, because I've always found the control system very difficult and clunky. And there's always a massive lack of ammunition at the early stages of the game. And I'm like, that just pisses me off. And I rented one, it must have been Resident Evil 4 or something like that, for my Xbox not long ago. And it starts off in like an African village. And there's zombies running around this village. And I thought, well, it was really cinematic. And I'm like, wow, this looks so good compared to the first one. And then the game, you know how it does your cutscene, and then it leads you in, and you have control of your character. And I started moving around. I got attacked by a few zombies. I'm like, oh, fuck off! It's just the same.
Yeah, but I remember playing. I think it was the first one, and I didn't like it. I was kind of used to, you shoot someone, they fall down, they die.
Yeah.
And this was all about, you have to shoot them in the right place, and I was like, I got really frustrated because you ran out of ammunition really quickly.
Yeah.
And it was like, forget it, I'm not going to go back to this. And then I think I went back to it, maybe Resident Evil 3 or whatever, and really enjoyed it. Because I was more used to the kind of gameplay, and the story was very well done. I think it was a guy trying to save someone's daughter or something. It might be not even Resident Evil 3, I don't know what it was. But it definitely was in the Resident Evil series. But the one that scared me, at it, just going on to, we're in the computer game range at the moment, Silent Hill scared the crap out of me when I played that.
Never played it.
It was awesome. Because it was, I mean, again, I played it, I don't know, I mean, I was an adult when I was playing it, which is probably sad to say that I was scared as a computer game as an adult. But I played it with the lights off, because that's the way I just get into the games and stuff. And I'm sure it's Silent Hill, but you're playing as the character, and there is a kind of spotlight on you, so all you can see is what's in the range of your little flashlight. So if you turn to the left, you that's all you see is your little range, and you've got this little radio that goes anytime something bad's near you. So that's all you hear out the sound. And then sometimes you just turn around, and all of a sudden it'll be something standing in front of you, and the volume will just go rah! And you're like, Jesus Christ! And it was great for doing that stuff. The gameplay was hard as hell, because there was lots of little puzzles and stuff in it, but it kept me going back and going back. I never played any of the other ones, but I remember Silent Hill being that kind of atmospheric and very well done, and that you could see this. All I remember is just this field of vision being so narrow that you literally were, I'm one of these idiots that when you're playing Mario Kart, when you turn around a corner, I'm leaning on the edge thinking that I can go on 2 wheels. So here's me trying to peek into the TV, see if I can look any more of an idea as to what's round this corner on a fucking flashlight.
I don't think you're alone in that somehow.
Yeah.
But of course, that's another one that spawned a movie franchise, and funnily enough, now we don't have Saw anymore. The big Halloween release that's been thrashed to death on a marketing campaign for this year here is the new Silent Hill movie, which looks pretty much the same as the last movie, which was terrible. It's probably the most unscary film I think I've ever seen.
I've stayed away from the movies. I haven't even, I mean, I might watch the first one or anything, but I haven't followed them or anything like that. So, because again, I thought, I don't really want to see a movie based on a computer game. Well, I don't really know how closely it actually follows the computer game, to be honest.
Well, they don't tend to, do they? They just have a completely divergent plot, and they just put in characters you're used to seeing. So you've got the big pyramid head dude with the big sword. Now, I'm sure he was in the first movie, and the trailers, he's all over the trailers for the second movie. And it looks like a carbon copy of the first one, to be honest. I haven't heard any reviews yet, but of course it's 3D now as well. Yeah. So he gets to slash his sword at your head as well. So, but I can't bring myself to part with the cash on that one. I just can't. But Resident Evil, the third film... Is it a third film? Nemesis, basically. Where it's set in... It might be the second one, actually. Where it's set in this... Yeah, it's the second one. And it's set in the city, and you've got the Nemesis creature, and she has a big fight with him at the end, and that is actually... out of all the Resident Evil movies, I think that is the coolest one, which is funny, because I know it divides opinion, because a lot of people hate it. But it's a lot more action-y, computer gamey, over-the-top, it was stuff like they're being attacked by these things in the church, and Mila Jovovich just turns up on a motorbike, toting guns. You know, I think she actually fires a motorbike at one of these creatures at one point, and I'm like, that's awesome. So yeah. It was just like an action movie, that one. I really enjoyed it. So I have watched all of them, but I cannot bring myself to do it on the last one. I'll wait for it to turn up on some movie service somewhere.
Yeah, I'd say if it comes on there, I might watch them, but there's nothing to kind of entice me into watching it. But I mean, that's pretty much it for my movie going. I've kind of, again, the kids dominate my TV, so I get very little time to actually catch up on a lot of stuff that I want to watch.
Talking about cinema watches, I watched recently The House at the End of the Street. Again, This is another one I did an audio boo about. And again, I think it's another one of those, it's got a clever idea behind it, but they meander to it a little bit too... They take too long to do it, I think.
Okay.
There's some good acting in it. It's good to see Elizabeth Shue again. Being a bit of a pain-in-the-ass mum. And there's a couple of creepy scenes, and it gets you wondering where's this going, but there isn't much of a payoff at the end. There's any poster that says, "Oh, with a simply amazing twist," and you're like, yeah, the twist's going to be average at best. If you have to tell us there's a twist, then not so good.
Yeah, you can't just give it away that there's going to be a twist or anything in it. That's just stupid.
Yeah, and you just wonder what's going to happen, and it's one of those. It uses all the horror genre sort of tricks, and makes you feel that's the way it's going, but it isn't really. There's probably PG-13 there, Sorry?
I've seen the trailer for it and everything, and I thought, you know what, it just looks like kind of tried and tested movie that I've seen tons of times before.
Yeah, it is. It's just another one of those, unfortunately. There's nothing remarkable enough about it to make it stand out.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, it's PG-13. It is over here.
Yeah, it's just another one of... There's a lot of these movies where they're not done badly. So the acting's not bad, the filming's not bad, even the edits aren't bad. But the problem is there's no substance to them. So you just sort of meander to the end of the film and you go, yeah, but largely forgettable, unfortunately.
I mean, that's all right sometimes, I guess.
It was a night out. I was going to say, we should talk about something we've both seen.
Yes.
We mentioned this earlier. I'm like, oh yeah. This is actually one I need to buy because I need this in my collection. And it's Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Awesome movie. That is. It kind of as you mentioned, it kind of harks back to a kind of cabin in the woods type-esque thing.
Yeah.
But it's so well done. It's brilliantly played, and I mean, its tongue is firmly in cheek.
It really is.
And it's just absolutely hilarious to watch.
I mean, the first thing that draws you in, and the reason I watched it, is because you get your little poster thing, like you do on Netflix, your little video cover, basically. Yeah. And I'm like, it's Wash from Firefly.
Yep.
And Wachowski from Reaper. Was it Wachowski? I can't remember his name. The big guy from Reaper, who's really funny. And you're like, oh, anything these two are doing together is going to be good.
Yeah, we saw it at the Horror Hound Festival in Indianapolis, 2 years ago?
Right.
When a good friend who had been on Little Pot of Horrors, Mr. Andrew, was over visiting, and we were up there for a horror convention thing, to see some of their movies, and I think that was the last movie we saw. The others were all pretty dreadful, but that was the last movie we saw, and it was like, this is what you want.
To end on.
So it was just, we had a few beers by that time, and it was just a good, funny horror movie. It kind of fits in the horror genre, kind of, maybe.
Yeah, but it's based on it, isn't it, entirely?
Yeah.
So it's got to be.
But you could put the argument that it's a kind of Zombieland-esque / Shaun of the Dead type one as well, where it's got so much comedy in it. But I would say it is slightly different. But you could lump it into that category, seeing as we were talking about those two in the last show.
Yeah. Well, that was in terms of lists. I mean,
yes.
As far as coming under the remit of what we could talk about on this show, it definitely fits. Yeah. So,
I mean,
it's one of those though where we can't say too much about the plot or anything because it's kind of all spoilery, I think.
Yeah.
You don't actually want to say anything about what goes on. Just watch it.
Exactly. And because it's got the comedy aspect into it as well, you don't want to go, oh, and this bit was so funny, and this bit was so funny. Yeah. And people will be like, yeah, okay, shut up. We want to see it for ourselves, but do definitely try and check it out if you can. I know it's on Netflix over here and has been for a long time.
Yeah, it is here as well.
So it is. So it's well worth a watch. I don't think it's that long either, an hour and a half or something.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a good time and a little bit of blood and gore, definitely one to check out. It is hilarious.
Yeah, I think there'll probably be films like that where we will want to talk about them a bit more, and we'll have to do it with like a spoiler zone sort of thing.
Yes.
Sort of later down the line, but this is sort of, I guess this forms the recommendations part of the show, doesn't it? So.
Definitely. And it is one for watching. But I'd say have a couple of beers beforehand as well.
Yeah.
If you can, or a little bottle of wine or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got like friends, like-minded friends who like that sort of thing, and
yeah.
It's a great one for a get-together, slap on the Xbox, put on Netflix.
Yep.
When everyone's having a good giggle and put it on.
Exactly.
Be a great movie for that.
But no.
Much like, under the same sort of category as My Name is Bruce.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Do not watch it unless you're probably drunk, would be my advice.
Okay.
You'll find way more merit if you're half cut.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'll probably not watch it at all then. So what is? I haven't really seen many reviews and stuff for it, but it kind of looked kind of funny. But Mr. Campbell and I have a past.
Oh yes, I forget you lack some love for him, don't you?
yeah, maybe not on my. I don't know.
Don't go there. I'll put you back in the cellar.
We'll not go there. We'll not go there. So we'll avoid that one, shall we? Sorry. But is that it's for it? I mean, have you seen anything else or anything else you want to bring up?
Well, I've seen. I'll say a quick thing about it. I did go and see Paranormal Activity 4.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot of snobbiness about these films, especially over here. They call it Paranormal Activity. Now, I've always been a defender of this set of films, basically, because I like the slow boil tension. I like the way it builds up to scares, and it works on me.
Yeah.
So, I am target audience for these producers. Number 4 is a step too far.
Okay.
They should have stopped at 3. Unfortunately, This is my view, my opinion, but they had some clever little concepts, which it's because it's still a fairly recent film. I'm not going to say what they are. Hopefully, in the future, we're going to do a show on the whole series and talk in more depth.
I need to catch up on 2 and 3. I just saw the first one.
Yeah, you see, now in my opinion, 3 is the best of the lot.
Okay.
So they had some clever camera ideas. They have to be a bit clever with how things are being filmed, and they don't sell it this time. It's not convincing enough.
Okay.
Like the actual capture of the footage isn't convincing enough.
Right. Okay.
And then what they do with it is just it's a step backwards. If you're gonna say what you like about the Saw franchise, they realised that each one they bring out, they were going to have to go a step further.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so the step they chose to use was the traps were more elaborate and the camera shots were more leering on the actual gore. So they went up in extremity. So with something like this, where it's doors closing, bumps and scrapes, you've got to think of something we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
They don't think of anything we haven't seen yet, and it's like. I came out quite disappointed, and it was one of those screenings where I just wanted to turn around and slap someone in the head for being so damn noisy all the way through it.
Yeah.
Just why people buy the most rustly, noisy packet of crisps or sweets before they walk in and make them last for the entire movie, and then at the most tense moments, all you can hear is... But being British, of course, I said nothing. There we are.
Yes. I mean, that's what kind of ruined the first one for me. Is if I'm right, I went and saw it with Andrew, and obviously it was overly hyped when it came out. I think everybody had seen the trailers with the fact that it was one of these, the cameras on the audience and they're jumping and they're screaming and doing all this stuff, and it was fine. But I think we were sitting behind a row of giggly girls or whatever, and that's just an avenue for disaster right there. And a lot of the scares and tension were taken away because I was just so annoyed by them. But I mean, I remember enjoying it, but I haven't gone back and rewatched it. I've started the second one, watching it with the kids. I know I'm not a bad parent before anybody decides to call me a bad parent for watching with my kids. They only saw half of it, and It was just, yeah, I was kind of enjoying it when we went along, but when we stopped it, I just haven't gone back and finished it off. It wasn't one I really wanted to jump in and finish it off, but I like the style of it. I like the slow boilers. Here we go, I'm contradicting myself again because I complained about slow boilers in the last show. But for me, it worked in this one because I didn't know where it was going. I wanted to see what was actually going to happen this time because you get so many false hopes. Oh, this is the night we're going to see the door move or something, and you're watching that door for it to move and nothing happens. And then
that's where the trailer was clever with that film, because we all knew the door was going to move.
Yep.
But you see the door so much.
Yes.
When it does, you're kind of not ready for it still.
So that was, I enjoyed that you just never knew what was coming. So I do definitely want to revisit them, but it'll be one to watch at home and with the lights off and give myself a little scare.
Did you hear what happened at a cinema here? I think it was last week.
No.
Children sat down for a performance, or it was some kids' film, basically. Family time, daytime showing. And because they use these automated projection systems now, instead of the, I don't know, Frankenweenie or Paranormal, no, it was Hotel Transylvania, I think it was. These kids had gone to watch. And the wrong film started playing. And it started with Paranormal 4. Now, Paranormal 4 starts with flashbacks to 2.
Okay.
Which I can't. You haven't seen 2, have you?
I've only seen the first half, so I don't know how it ends or whatever.
Okay, so yeah, there's a couple of very violent things that happen at the end of 2, and Paranormal 4 starts with it. So there's no slow boil. It's like, this many years ago, this happened. Flashback.
Boom.
Smack, smack. Screaming kids, upset parents, very, very sheepish cinema staff.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That would have caused some nightmares, I imagine.
I think it probably would.
Yes.
And
oopsie.
I do think, given my experience or whatever, it's like, oh, it's terrible, and they're like, I bet you half the kids who are terrified by that grow up to love horror movies.
Oh, probably.
Because that's how it works.
Yeah.
Something scares the shit out of you, you become fascinated by it. It's
It
just the
wouldn't
way the
surprise
human
me.
mind works.
You will definitely. The kids go, oh, what happened next? I want to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Mom, I was enjoying that.
Every time I'm going to make a joke, I think, no, can't, he hasn't seen it, I'm going to have to shut up.
I'll get there.
Well, the first one, I actually, I admit to this, I saw through less official means, shall we say, and I managed to see, I don't know if it was the US release, or whether it was just one with an alternative ending, but the ending I saw is completely different to the one that was in the cinema here, for Paranormal 1.
If I remember, there was an alternative ending.
Right.
Was there not? Is this not the best? Okay, am I thinking, is this the one that Spielberg was involved in?
I don't know.
Why do I want to think Spielberg was involved in this one? And apologies to anyone listening out there who's maybe screaming at the iPod or whatever, calling me all sorts of names. But I want to think he was involved in it, or the production company or something like that, and they had to make a different ending, or they made a different ending, or the marketeers or something got in there and changed the ending. And there was an alternative ending, and I can't remember which one it was. Can we just do...
Okay, if you haven't seen Paranormal Activity, the first film, and you don't want the end spoiled, turn off forward, just press the little arrow and skip forward 30 seconds from now. Okay, the end of the version I saw, she goes downstairs, you hear, scream, blah, 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 she comes back up, she's got blood on her t-shirt, and she just sits down on the floor, then the police arrive. The cinema release here, she does, rah! Throws him into the camera and does scary face to the camera.
Yes.
So that's the official release.
I don't know if that's the official release, but that's the one I saw.
Right, okay. See, I preferred the one I saw first, which was a lot more... It still left you guessing, you know?
I think that's the original ending, the one where she just sits down.
Yeah.
But they wanted to go for... People weren't satisfied with that and wanted to go for the more jump shock.
Don't say anything.
I didn't say a word.
I should have said a minute, shouldn't I?
I didn't say
30 seconds goes quite quick. Sorry if we've just ruined the end of that movie for you. But...
Yeah, it wasn't me, it was Boz, honest.
It was, yeah.
He made me do it.
Well, I mean, if Andrew's a fan of these films, we should get him on for when we do the special.
I'm not sure if he's seen the other ones, but yeah, we'll definitely need to get him to let us know. Please, Andrew. Please email thelittlepodofhorrors@gmail.com. Please. Or tweet @podofhorrors. you go. Little corporate plug there.
We're doing it at the end.
Yes.
So that was the A section of the show. Should we do the B section?
Oh yeah, definitely.
A is for apple. B is for
Buzz.
C is for crayons. D is for drum.
Like scrotum, here it is in a nutshell.
Right, this week's B is for Boz is, I think it was on Netflix, and I've looked again, it's not there anymore. I think they were so ashamed they may have taken it off. The film in question is 1981's Student Bodies. Need I say more? A killer named The Breather tallies up a score of teenage bodies in this scathing parody of slasher films.
Ooh.
Scathing? Ineptly executed, possibly. It is... You couldn't call it a parody. It's what it is an embarrassment. The whole thing is an embarrassment. Terrible production values. Absolutely horrendous acting. The most obvious cliched jokes and setups. If you think those, like, you know, superhero movie, scary movie, those kind of parody films, if you think they're bad, really don't go anywhere near this.
Really?
I'm actually lying when I say I watched it, because I got maybe 20 minutes in, and then I just started fast-forwarding to look for the murder scenes.
Yeah.
Just wait for something interesting to happen. It's unbelievably bad.
I'm looking at what I assume is the DVD cover or whatever. In fact, I think it's a DVD cover. And does it really say before there was Scream, there was Student Bodies?
It does
the
say
world's
that, yes.
first comedy horror movie?
Yes.
Is it a different Scream that I'm thinking of?
Scream was not a horror comedy.
Is Scream a horror? Yeah.
Scream is a horror film which parodies the slasher genre. Well, it's not parody, is it? It's homage.
It's homage, yeah. It's not parody at all.
But this is repackaged, you see. And I don't know if you can see, there's a little thing on the floor. Has your cover got the girl with the funnel in her mouth?
Yes, sir.
Lying back over a desk?
It says sex kills.
Sex kills, yeah. I don't remember any naughtiness. I don't even remember there being boobies in it. It's beyond bad. I mean, if sometimes you watch a film and you think, this could be so bad it's good.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, no. Just to be avoided at all costs.
And I'm sorry. It's an 80s movie with no boobs in it.
There might have been, but they were so unmemorable that I can't recall it. So
That's upsetting. And then to
Cool,
repackage
we've got to back off this because we're seriously going to get a reputation as a couple of birds.
I'm sorry. Sorry. It's America.
My genetic
It's
male
changed me.
imperative, which is what I've always said.
I blame America. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, then to repackage it to say before there was Scream, I'd be interested in seeing what the original kind of poster or box for it actually was,
Yeah.
to see how they marketed it then. But so that was a very successful base for Boz this week then.
Yeah,
Tune in next time for a movie that Boz may have actually watched in full.
Okay. I'll try and watch something that actually may have some merit.
Yes, I mean I know the section's supposed to be about bad movies, but we've got to find some sort of redeeming feature, surely.
Okay, I'll go for a so bad it's good.
There you
next
go.
time.
That'll
Okay.
keep people going. So,
As we've established, I like my good friend Will Tristram. I will watch any old shit.
there you go.
So,
And as I've said to you, I used to be like that, but unfortunately my viewing time is now vastly reduced. So my patience
you can't
for
afford
that.
to waste good horror film viewing time on shit.
Yes, unfortunately, that's the whole thing. I got to make my minutes count.
Yeah.
So I do. So for this week's topic, what I thought I would like to talk about, if it's not going to bore you all too much, is my experiences with FrightFest, and just kind of giving a general overview as to how I found it and what I kind of, not any pitfalls or anything like that. I'm not exactly an expert on it, but just how I found the whole festival experience, and hopefully if anybody actually does go along to a similar festival or even FrightFest itself, it might be some kind of good guidance and some pointers for you. And also I'm hoping it might even put some movies out there that you've never heard of, or even if it's just a good kind of back and forward for some movies that have actually hit the mainstream as a result, or maybe not as a result of FrightFest, but it's hit the mainstream, but we actually got to see it months, if not years, before the major public did.
Well, I have my list ready.
Fantastic.
I can write things on my list.
Good.
So you probably won't bore people. You're just going to make us all fucking jealous because we haven't been.
Well, hopefully that's the way, but now I get to be jealous because I've got no chance of ever going ever again, probably. Unless I get lots of money. Please donate. Anyway, I think it was about 2006 was the first year that I went. I've been 3 times so far. And 3, yes.
God, it's a lot of movies.
It is a lot of movies. A lot of movies and a lot of money. But I think in 2006 it cost like £120, which is about $200 for the full pass.
Yeah.
Because the way they did it back then, and I'm sure it's still the same just now, is you get a full weekend pass, and basically you buy yourself a seat, and that's it. That's your seat for the entire festival.
Oh,
so
right.
you don't move around or anything like that because it's all based on one screen, and it was a seat. So you were, I can't even remember what number I am. I've got the ticket somewhere, height and storage, but I was like H7 or something like that. And that's
Not
it.
H6.
Not H6, no.
Sorry.
But I don't even think it was H, to be honest. I was way back in the screen. It was in the old-fashioned Odeon in Leicester Square, which I don't even think is there anymore. I'm fairly sure they knocked it down a couple of years ago. I don't know what they replaced it with, but it was
Car park, probably, knowing London.
Possibly, yes. I'm sure it wasn't anything useful. But for people who don't know what FrightFest is, it's basically a major movie film festival, which is held every year over the August bank holiday weekend. So I think that's pretty much at the end of August.
Yeah.
Every year. So it kind of goes. It used to go, I think, kind of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and it's been growing and expanding, and it eats into the Thursday now. So it's becoming more like a 5-day event, with a focus on certainly on horror, but there's a lot of fantasy in there as well. And it just appears to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger as the years go on, and as it gains more prestige, and a lot of big directors want to be showing their movies there for the first time, or actually get really nervous showing them at that particular event because they're like, wow, okay, you guys don't know your stuff, so if you don't like it,
we got no hope.
Yeah.
Do you know what worries me, though, is I fully intend to go next year, 2013. I don't know what the release schedule is, but I have a horrible feeling that Human Centipede 3 might be on that list.
You never know. Sometimes they won't put things on there, but they might. I don't even know if they're showing Human Centipede 2 on there in later years. But
okay.
So you might be okay. You might get away with it. Who knows?
Well, that was just banned. Anyway, digress.
That's okay. So I can't even remember how I came across FrightFest. I think it was maybe something like a Time Out magazine or something, or Time Out London, and it was just talking about it, and I was like, what is this? I hadn't heard anything about it, and I thought, you know what? I like horror movies. I didn't really have anybody in London to go to watch horror movies with because I hadn't been down there that long, didn't really know anybody, or the people that I did know I didn't really want to spend any time with outside of work. My girlfriend at the time, she wasn't into horror at all, and she was like, you want to do that? That's fine. Yeah, you go spend 5 days away from me, or 4 days away from me, that's not a problem. So I just took a punt on it and was lucky that I got a weekend pass, because now they sell out within the first few hours of them.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's big. It's pretty big. People queue up for hours for the night before to get their seat. And I don't know how much they've gone up to. I think it's like £140 or £150 now, but it sounds a lot of money. But if you're there for the whole weekend, I mean, I saw 23 movies.
That's
so
a good deal.
120 quid for 23 movies is like what, £5-6 a movie. It's not a bad deal.
Wow.
Obviously, that's just for the ticket price alone. You're going to
So
spend.
I've actually got to go and queue up for a ticket. I can't just buy it online.
You can buy it online now, yeah, but people do
Oh.
queue up for tickets. They've got, I think it's the midnight line or something like that. They call
Fuck
it.
that. Sorry.
Special people, not special. That's wrong. Not special people. Sorry. People especially queue up for it, and what they do is they sometimes throw on like movies just for those people who turn up in that queue. or they give them little extras and things like that. It all becomes a little mini event in itself for the people that's there. But you can do it online, because I think that's what I did at the subsequent years. But or you can give them a call and do it on the telephone.
Okay.
But if you want to guarantee your ticket, you show up in line. Otherwise,
do you know when they're going on sale?
The will
generally
advertise when they go on sale. It's usually, I think it's July. It's usually a few weeks
Oh, okay.
before.
So it's not like bloody music festivals where it's like January.
No, it's not months and months and months in
Right,
advance.
okay.
They'll tell you what's coming, and usually they'll release it. I think about July on their site. They'll release pretty much what movies are going to be shown there.
Cool.
Sometimes they'll hold a few back because things change. As with all these programs, things move around. They might drop something, add something new in, or they might have problems actually getting the movie itself to the location, especially on special guests as well. All that can change and everything. So for me, I was just lucky. I just went online, click, boom, done, and I didn't realise how big an event it was. I was actually going to. I had no idea what it was. I was actually going to be honest. I just knew, hey, I booked my ticket, and people were asking me, what are you doing the bank holiday weekend? I'm going to go watch horror movies for 4 days. And people were a bit like, you're going to do what?
You're supposed to be having barbecues.
So people were a bit like, you weirdo. And I've actually sat down and did the math. For the 23 movies that I saw.
Gordon.
What?
I know you've been living there a while. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's maths, isn't it?
The podcast was incepted in this country, so I'm sorry, it has to be maths.
Sorry. I've said math for years and it's pissed a lot of people off. Okay, I've done my sums. And roughly I watched 2,174 minutes of footage.
Wow.
Or 36.23 hours. Which is over 4 days. Now, when
That's
you
a
look
good
at
deal.
it, but when you look at it that way, you're like, that's only 9 hours a day. That's not bad. I mean, you can say you can easily say, you know what, I'll grab 4 or 5 movies, sit down for 9 hours, and just put them on back to back in my living room or whatever.
Bloody hell.
I mean, that's not too bad, but
you only need like one Martyrs to turn your brain to soup, and you're like, oh, I've got 5 more horror films to watch.
that's the thing. Because you're not sitting down. It's not sitting down with back-to-back movies. You've obviously got breaks in between all the movies, which could range from half an hour to an hour and a half or whatever. You've got like short films that they'll show. You've got trailer trash stuff that they show. You've got Q&As after the movies. You've got all this stuff going on. So it's not a 9-hour day. It's literally, I was getting there at say 8 o'clock in the morning and getting home 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Sleeping for like 5 hours and then back up and doing it again. My problem with this, if anyone is going to go after having done this 2 years the wrong way, the third year we did it right. We booked a hotel and we stayed within like 20-minute walk from Leicester Square. It cost more money, but you know what? It wasn't as tiring, and you could actually have a few more beers and just chill and relax a little bit more. It wasn't just churning into a machine. And it was just the best way to do it. Because before I had an hour commute on the way in and an hour and a half on the way back. And it's a lot. It is a lot when you're sitting down watching movies, which is tiring in itself.
Mind you, the third time you went, didn't you live in Edinburgh?
The third time we went, yes, I did live in Edinburgh, so yes. So we had
kind of needed somewhere to sleep anyway.
We needed a hotel, but we couldn't bunk with anybody. Even if we could have, we wouldn't have, because I'm saying, buy a hotel, get a hotel room or a hostel room or something, somewhere where you don't have to walk or
get a hostel for FrightFest.
There are places, bed and breakfast, those kind of things.
Yeah,
but that's the way to do it, personally for me. Right. Me going into it the first time as well, I had no idea what to expect when it came to actually what I could eat and what I was going to be eating and doing all that stuff. Because, you're going to movies. And how many movies theatres can you walk into quite blatantly with your own drinks and something to eat?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
So I was like, I don't know what to do. But I quickly found out after the first couple of hours that all those rules are broken when it comes to this. They know you're there for the long haul.
Yeah.
So you want to bring your Starbucks in, you want to bring your Cokes in, you want to bring whatever. then
you can't
you're
live on
fine.
popcorn for 4 days.
So, and plus they're making an absolute fortune off your concession stand anyway, because
Yeah.
everyone's doing or going to be buying stuff at some point probably through the thing. So for me, I still didn't really know what was going on, and being a bit of a loner type and didn't really have too much money, I was kind of limited to what I could be doing. So I think I drank more cups of tea from the little concession stand than I think I've ever drunk in my entire life. But it kept me going because I had to make it nice and sweet. So I was getting the sugar rush and the heat to actually keep me awake.
You lived on sugar and tea.
I pretty much did for like 3 days. I ate
Jeez.
bits and pieces in there, but again, it's the things like stupid things like I don't want to be peeing for like 4 hours. So I want to be watching what I'm drinking, and I don't want to be eating at McDonald's and then for it to be halfway through a movie and going, oh my god, this isn't good. So I was kind of trying to limit what I was eating and drinking so that I wasn't being constantly rushing out of movies, because I hate leaving the theatre to go to the bathroom.
So
Hate
do
it.
I. I've sat there in agony before
Yeah.
because I refused to leave.
And then let alone having to go to some sort of public toilet type piss place. That's a complete whole horror story in itself. So I was trying to limit what I was doing. So there's a lot of kind of organisation in this, and to think about. But for me, I had no idea what to get there. There was a program that had came out beforehand, and I tried to kind of keep away from reading as much as I could as to what was on there, because I wanted to go in either blind to it, or I would read the synopsis just before the movie was coming on, so I'd have some sort of idea as to what I was going to be watching.
I probably wouldn't even do that, to be honest.
It's your own personal choice. A lot of the time, as the later festivals went on and as the days went on, the main thing that I was looking at was, how long is this movie? Because there was a lot of times you're like, I just need a break. I want to go and get a beer, or I want to get something to eat, and I really don't want a 2-hour movie with a 20-minute break.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. So there's a lot of logistics and stuff around it, but a lot of the times I was kind of going, please be a short movie, please, I'm too tired. So I went in. This year opened on a Thursday with a charity screening of Severance, which I didn't go to because I didn't know about it. They were selling the tickets separately. It wasn't part of the overall pass. The pass didn't start till the Friday, so I didn't know about it. So, I mean, it would have been nice to see Severance in the big screen with
That crowd.
that kind of crowd, because it's kind of a movie which is kind of made for that kind of crowd. There's lots of references, and for anybody who doesn't know really what Severance is, it's a kind of UK film. Don't take that as something bad, please. This is actually a really good one. Where you're going to get your team building retreat, which is in the mountains in, I don't know, Eastern Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
And then they get hunted down by these kind of crazed killers, crazed psychopaths. And it's just a lot of fun. There's a lot of stupid deaths.
There's the best bear trap death. Was it death? But bear trap mutilation,
Yes.
which is both really hard to look at, but hilarious at the same time. And it's one of those moments that makes you question, am I a little bit sick that I'm laughing at this? But it is played for laughs.
Yes.
At the same time, it's horrifying you, which I loved that.
It was very well constructed that way. It kept its kind of tongue firmly in cheek for a lot of it. But yeah, there are some pretty gruesome parts in there. Unfortunately, I'm not a huge Danny Dyer fan,
Me either.
and he really annoyed me. But okay, for me personally, I don't want to be watching movies when just like, okay, here's the stereotypical stoner, blah 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 blah. I don't need to be. That doesn't do anything for me. There's a bit of laughs and stuff in there, but anyway, it'd have been nice to have watched that, but I didn't. So my day kind of kicked off on the Friday morning with The Hound of the Baskervilles. 1959, the original. They were doing a little kind of Hammer retrospect at the beginning of it. And what I thought was weird was that the movie theatre was probably about, I don't know, 20% full. So I was like, what the hell? I thought this was like a big thing. I thought this was going to be kind of busier and stuff. And nope, there was nobody there for it, which was great, because I mean, I could just sit down. I didn't have to worry about people sitting beside me or anything going on. I could just watch the movie. And while I'd watched some kind of Hammer stuff, I'd never seen any of these movies that was coming on. So watching The Hound of the Baskervilles was awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
So I did. I mean, yeah, it's aged and everything like that, but it's just it was a really good story, really well done. It wasn't too cheesy over the top. It was well played. I mean, you're going to watch Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Come on, you're going to get a decent performance and a pretty decent movie from them. So I really, really enjoyed that. Seeing it on the big screen, and I haven't watched it since then. I keep meaning to. I got it on DVD, but I just haven't really. I don't know. I guess I want to watch it again, but I don't want it to kind of ruin the kind of protection I put on it from my first FrightFest movie. I don't want it to spoil it, I guess, if I watch it again. Oh, this is pretty shit. Unlike the next movie, which was a Countess Dracula, from 1971, which this was really...
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, Mex is going to kill me for that one, isn't she?
Probably. But I'm sorry, this was fucking awful.
Really?
Oh, Jesus. I mean, it's what you expect from a lot of the Hammer movies. You can see it's all set in these kind of medieval times, so you've got the big silly sets and all the big costumes and everything going on. And it was just... I mean, basically this Countess is bathing herself or washing herself in blood of young girls, which makes her young again. So she just keeps herself young by slaughtering these girls and bathing in their blood.
Boobies?
I mean, it sounds... I don't even... There might have been, to be honest. That's how bad it was.
I don't even remember the boobies. That must have been bad.
I can't really remember. And I was... To be honest, I was the second movie in and I was struggling to stay awake. This is where I thought I was going to be in big, big trouble. Because I thought, oh my god, I'm only second movie in and I'm about to fall asleep.
Yeah, but I'd be like, this is shit, so I'm going to sleep now, so I don't fall asleep in the next one.
You do, yeah. I have experienced that with later movies and the other festivals where I've just basically said, you know what, I'm not liking this. And have either... But it's basically been down to its necessity. I just cannot stop myself from falling asleep. I've had little things I've tried to do during the course of the movies, and some of them I'll give away as I'm going through later movies. But in this one I was really struggling. But I'd paid for it, and I've never walked out a movie, apart from one, which has only been in recent times, and I gave it the benefit of the doubt. Because you never know, something might be redeeming about this particular one, which there wasn't. But then came Twins of Evil.
Ooh.
There you go. I mean, this stars real life Playboy twins. I can't remember their names now. I'm sure I'll find it somewhere. But they're basically Playboy twins in this movie. So there's very well cleavaged young ladies.
Excuse me a second.
Yeah. Who basically...
On the list. Sorry, carry on.
That's okay. Who basically it is the most sexual innuendos I think I've ever seen on screen. To be honest, everything was it's just really silly filth. I mean, it's funny. It is really funny, and there's nothing. I'm sure it maybe tried to take itself seriously way back then, but it's just a lot of fun. I mean, you're sitting there with a sex scene going on, and one of the girls, the twins, leans back and she starts caressing this candlestick holder as though she's doing. I'll fill in the blanks there.
I get the picture. Yeah.
It's just like everybody's just busting out laughing because it's just so ridiculously funny. But it's just filled with things like that. But it was from Countess Dracula. It really was what it needed.
Must have been a breath of fresh air.
Yes, light-hearted relief. And then it was after this movie was over that everything started to pick up. More and more, lots more people started pulling into the theatre. And this is when I actually gained my buddy for the day, or buddy for the festival, whose name I can't remember. I want to say Ben, but I could be completely wrong on that. But basically, he had turned up, his buddy couldn't make it, so it was just him, an empty seat, and then me, which was kind of nice, because I mean, you never know when these...
Somewhere to put your stuff.
Yes, well, we could kind of share it, and it's always also good, because, I mean, I was quite lucky with the guys who were sitting to the right of me. They were a couple of guys who were together, and they just jumped in and out of movies. They didn't. They didn't watch them all. And when they were there, they weren't assholes or anything like that. It was well behaved and watching the movies and everything. So you never know who you're going to get if you're going to sit beside a big sweaty, stinky person or whatever. So I was really lucky that way.
I'm normally the big, sweaty, stinky person, but
you can be understandable at the day 4 or anything like that. But Everybody's there the whole time, and you get to know everybody and say hello and nod and things like that. But
Yeah.
it was a bit weird for me because I'm not someone who just generally will strike up a conversation with people. So I was just kind of happy just to sit there and keep my head down and stuff that was going on. But everyone was there, and it was absolutely packed for a premiere of El Laberinto del Fauno, if I've said that correct,
Ooh.
aka Pan's Labyrinth.
El Fauno.
El Fauno. Okay, thank you. Show off.
Labyrinth of the Faun.
Labyrinth,
Or otherwise
yes.
known as Pan's Labyrinth.
There you go. Directed by Guillermo del Toro, who was in attendance at the festival, who's got a bit of a history with the festival. Now, I'll be honest, I was like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't pay a huge amount of attention to directors and back catalogues and do all that stuff. But then when you're like, oh, he made Mimic, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember watching that movie. It was shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
He was not huge at that point.
no. And then, I mean, so he did a little bit of Q&A after it, but for like the next 2 hours, I just sat there pretty much with my jaw on the floor. This movie is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's watched this movie and doesn't like it in any respect. I don't think this is what it kind of falls into, the kind of fantasy side of the festival, I guess. For people who don't really know about it, it's set in Spain in about 1944, I think, and it basically follows the story of the young girl and her kind of imagination, I guess, because you don't know if it's truth or fantasy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So you see her imagination, but to counterbalance that, you're really getting the real gritty side of kind of fascist Spain and the war that's going on. So you've got both sides here. You've got the dark and the light of a story.
Yeah.
But her kind of own fantasy stuff is pretty dark and horrific as well. There's a lot in there that freaks the hell out of you. But to watch that on the big screen was an experience.
I bet it was.
I'm so glad I saw it up there and saw everything on there with the sound and everything like that, and then to hear the stories from Guillermo himself as to how it got made and how he does a movie for Hollywood, a movie for himself and things like that, and how he funded this a lot on his own dime, and everything that he does to get a movie made and what goes through his imagination and his stories and his drawings and all that stuff. I mean, that's what you just don't get from like a director's commentary or something. He was physically there. You could see him and touch him, and he was answering people's questions. And
You touched him?
I did touch him because we got little postcards. They give you little freebies in some of the movies, and we got little, not gonna put like twice the size of a postcard, with little. It's like a mini poster, I guess, of the movies. So you had like 3 of them from Pan's Labyrinth, and I waited in a queue, and we actually got him to. He signed one of them for me and shook his hand and everything.
Oh, brilliant.
So it was very cool.
Now I'm really jealous.
So that was kind of one of these things. It's like, oh yes, this is quite cool. You get to you get to meet people and get all these cool freebies. And you know, being a tight ass Scotsman, I'm never going to turn down a freebie, no matter what it is. But
excuse me, sir. Would you like a free? Yes, please.
yes, yeah. I don't know what it is, but just give me it's free. But I mean, that was really the kick off of the festival. That was the Hammer retrospective was great, but that wasn't really the start. Pan's Labyrinth was. Let's kick off FrightFest 2006 and kind of do it in style. And wow, it's very difficult to kind of follow a movie like that.
I'll bet.
But they tried, and tried pretty successfully. Because the next one up from that was Hatchet, which basically it's almost like a throwback to all these old-fashioned slasher movies and redneck movies and everything. And set down in New Orleans as a kind of haunted swamp tour. They find themselves stuck in the wilderness, and
doesn't sound terribly original.
It's not. It is not terribly original, and the director will admit that it's not terribly religious. I was about to say religious, but I think that's wrong. Terribly original, but you know what? It's got. I mean, the guy that they put in it, Victor Crowley, is pretty gruesome looking. He's a pretty scary psychotic killer. There is lots of over the top deaths in it. There is lots of over the top lesbianism in it. And it's just there you go. For all you Buffy fans out there, Mercedes McNabb is one of the girls who was in it, doing the boobies getting out of and the kissing of other girls.
Who was she in Buffy?
Spike's, one of Spike's girls. I can't remember her name. She's really annoying,
the
high-pitched.
ditzy one.
Yeah, the ditzy one. Yeah.
Oh, I know the one.
Okay.
What was her name? Oh, who cares?
Yeah.
Carry on.
But yeah, so that makes it all just a whole bit of fun. I mean,
Excuse me while I pour a drink.
you're okay. Plus,
Trying to do that quietly, it just didn't happen.
It's okay. We'll leave this one in. Plus, when you throw it in, you've got cameos from Robert Englund. You've got Tony Todd in it. You've got Kane Hodder, who's actually Victor Crowley himself. So you've got some pretty big names in here, and then the kind of festival setting makes everybody kind of laugh and cheer, and
Yeah, I bet.
it gives that movie a bit more kudos, I guess, than you really would normally get. And I've watched it a couple of times since then. I don't personally think it holds up on more than one watch, but for me, it was a lot of fun watching it in that kind of crowd. It's a pretty decent little horror movie.
On the list.
I know there's a Hatchet 2, which I haven't seen yet. I don't really know if I want to see it.
There's a thing with horror sequels, they're rarely any good.
Yeah.
Because they're normally just a franchise type thing, aren't they? So they sort of, they give it the same name and take it onto a sequel, but it's got none of the original people involved, so it's like...
Yeah, I don't know too much on the sequel on this one, but I think if you just want to put something on, it's on Netflix, an hour and a half kills, it's really good. And the director was there at the end of it, and he was telling us the laughs that we're having, the problems that we're having with the ratings, and how he got Robert Englund into doing the movie and everything. So you're getting an almost real life director's commentary type-esque thing,
Cool.
which again just adds to the enjoyment of the movie, really, for me. And then the Friday ended with the first, or not the first, the second subtitled movie of the day. Which is right, people, you're going to be reading. It's not just watching, you have to read as well. But it was a Swedish vampire flick called Frostbite, which is a really good a kind of twist on the whole vampire myth. I haven't seen it since then, and I've had difficulties trying to track it down. I'm sure you can track it down somewhere. It'll be on DVD somewhere. But from what I remember about it is it's a horror comedy, but the comedy really comes around the fact that someone has found what they think is a cure to being a vampire. But it turned out that someone actually took one of these pills as a cure, but it turns them into a vampire. So it's really seeing their kind of journey turning into the vampire, and how their senses are changing, and how they can feel the little fangs coming on, and everything like that. And it's played up for laughs, but there are some pretty brutal deaths in it, and lots of blood. It was a lot of fun, and it was a great way to kind of end the Friday night.
That's often what's missing from vampire flicks is brutal deaths, because vampires. Because I think other than just sort of ripping a throat out messily, I always struggle to think how you really get the gore into vampire flicks.
But this is some funny ones in it. I think there's a death of a puppy in it and things.
That's not funny.
It was funny. The way it was done was very funny. So it was.
Okay.
But yeah, you got to put these things in there for people who don't like that kind of thing.
Okay.
Probably people will feeling more disgust over the puppy being killed than the humans. But so I was kind of overall, my feelings of the first day was, you know what, that was pretty good. Kind of some questionable things at the beginning, but it ended very well. And again, Pan's Labyrinth, just awesome.
Yeah.
But then the next morning, back in 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, after like a few hours sleep, and I come into again, you got the UK setting, and it was a movie called Isolation, which I'll basically say is Alien with cows.
Okay.
Kind of thing. It's basically people that are on a remote Irish farm, and they end up becoming sort of kind of participants or whatever. Experimentation that's happening with the cows that's going on there, and it's basically about killer cows, really.
That sounds utterly terrible.
Oh, boom, boom, psh. And it was awful. It was. I mean, it only was like an hour and a half long, but it felt like 4. There's just was nothing redeeming in it at all. And then it came to the ending, and the ending was such a marketeer's dream ending. You could just tell it was tacked on at the end, and they were like, no, no, you can't possibly end your movie that way. We're going to tell you how you can end your movie, and shut up.
You can tell when they've done that very often.
And it was like, oh, really? I was like, it's not as if they ruined a good movie, but they're just going to put the cherry on the top of the bad taste that was in your mouth.
There was no black sheep then?
No, it wasn't done for laughs. Nothing like that. It was all done seriously. Trying to be some tension and things in there, and some pretty gross cow scenes. But
well, it was only the first movie of the day.
Oh my, you're on fire today, Mr. Boz. I dread to see what you come up with next. Next one was a completely weird one, and I can't believe I actually did sit through and watch it all, rather than just using this time for a break. But it's a documentary called Earthlings, Ugly Bags of Mostly Water.
Okay.
And it's a
I like the title. I do like the title.
And it's a documentary about Star Trek fans. And more about Klingons.
Right.
And people coming up with the Klingon language and everything that I can remember. And I just remember sitting there going, what am I watching?
Yeah, why the fuck is this on at FrightFest?
Yeah. And I'm just kind of looking around going, hey, there's not a lot of people here. And you're like, yeah, no wonder. Surprise. Yeah, these are the clever ones that got out and knew what it was. That was... I guess if you're a major Star Trek fan and you really like Klingons and want to know more about kind of these little groups of individuals that go around and have Klingon conventions and talk the Klingon language and stuff, then yeah, it might be.
If it's done wittily, documentaries like that can be very funny.
It wasn't. It was
one about live role playing, which is supposed to be very good. That's on my watch list. But if it's not done sort of cheekily enough, then it's just going to be dull.
This was dull, and unfortunately, the way it was shot. I mean, well, it was either a bad edit or a bad copy that they got or something, because the syncing of the track was off in parts, which is nothing worse. Nothing
I'd walk
worse.
out.
And you can tell when something's it's shot on a little handycam, and really when you watch it on the small screen it looks good, but then when you blow it up to something 100 times the size of that, you're like, whoa, yeah, this quality is awful. So I don't know, maybe they owed someone something. But yeah, it was okay. So the day wasn't off to a great start, and then
Trek.
Yeah.
Sorry,
telling you, you're on fire. And then it didn't really get any better for me. Next one up was The Marsh, which is another little it was a kind of ghost movie, pretty ghost story, with Forrest Whitaker in it. So there's always good for kind of a bit of tension and some really awful acting.
Did he feel something bad was about to happen?
Yes, he did. I will admit that I dropped off several times during this movie, and I was struggling. The only thing that kept waking me up was the fact that the sound was so loud. It was as if the only way they could get you to have some sort of reaction or scare from it was by turning the volume up to 50. And it was screeching noises, and it was... Oh
dear.
Yeah. I mean, it was well made and stuff. And the bits that I watched, it wasn't badly made. It was good production values and everything, but it was just... The story wasn't for me, and the sound was putting me off, because I don't like things that are just so blatantly in your face and being told when to jump and something's going to be scary. Just not for me. So I was really, very, very disappointed with the way that Saturday was going.
It's not good stuff.
No. We were 3 for 3.
Want my money back, please?
Yes, pretty much. And then when you kind of come into the kind of last half of the day, we kicked it off with a movie called See No Evil, which is nothing new. Bunch of teenagers are sent to stay overnight. I think they're being kind of delinquents, so I guess it's some sort of court-ordered or prison-ordered work that they had to do. So they've been sent off to clean this hotel, and look, guess who's staying in a hotel? Some big psychopath who's being holed up in this hotel for several years. And one of these people who turn up is obviously got a connection to this psychopath as well. And it's just,
Okay.
it's nothing new. I mean, there was a few good deaths in it. It was just a run-of-the-mill, churn it out, play-by-numbers, meh kind of movie. Standard 2.5, 3 stars kind of movie. It was okay. I tried to watch it again. It does not live up outside of that kind of setting. Because again, if you're with a bunch of people who can have some fun with it,
Yeah.
then it makes this movie slightly on the higher end of the 6 to 10 scale. But on its own, standalone, no. It was...
See, the thing is, I'm a bugger. If I went with somebody, and he would just get in these films that were just no good. So sort of rather than walk out, like, well, I've paid for this, so I'd probably sit still. But I would just relentlessly take the piss out of them all the way through. Probably end up getting me kicked out, but I'm terrible for that.
This one you could take the piss out of this one, but again, play by number, some pretty cool deaths.
Yeah.
So we're okay. So we're starting to maybe slightly redeem ourselves in the whole festival thing, until it came to the next horror, quite literally, Open Water 2, or Adrift, as they call it.
Oh, I fucking hated the first one.
I liked the first one.
Oh no!
I thought the first one was very well done.
Pointless movie.
Yeah, a completely pointless movie.
Pointless and boring.
It's
made me angry.
It's a movie that could have been over half an hour before had the guy done what I told my girlfriend at the time I would have done. And it's the second she started bleeding, she could fuck off and leave me alone. Stop hanging on to me and dragging me down with you, bitch. Shark infested waters. I'm sorry.
See you later, shark bait. I'm swimming for shore.
Heck yeah.
Interesting.
But maybe I'm just not that kind of lovable person. But I'm sorry.
Least you're honest.
Yeah. You know where you stand. If we're ever in the middle of an ocean and you're bleeding and I'm not, yeah, don't hold on to me.
No.
So this is pretty much. I mean, it's stupid to link it to the first Open Water because I mean there is no possibility really for a kind of sequel or anything like that. It's just using the name and tagging it on to a similar type of movie. But in this movie, the people you want to die,
Okay.
you just wish they would die so much quicker. And I mean, there's only so much. How many minutes can you really watch on screen and not root for the sharks just to really eat them quickly?
But surely it's not the same concept. Somebody stranded in the water, there's sharks, they die, end of film. Oh, sorry, spoilers, by the way.
It pretty much is. All these people go out on a boat, and as you do when you go out on a boat, you drink, and you can swim, and you've got to have the girl on the boat who doesn't like to swim, but she's on the boat anyway. So here we go. What do you have in the movie? Oh yeah, there's a dickhead on the boat, because everybody always has a dickhead that they go out with as a group of friends. So the dickhead throws her overboard. And then he goes in the water as well, and then they all kind of look around at each other to go, did anybody put the ladder down so we could get back in the boat? Oh, no. Oopsie. Oh
my god.
Yeah, so it's pretty much them trying to get back on the boat. Awful. The director was supposed to be there so he could watch the audience reaction of that movie. Apparently he got held up in traffic or couldn't make it or something.
Convenient.
Yes. And then to make the day even more worse, we ended it with Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror. I should just have went home, to be honest. I don't even know why I bothered staying. I mean,
I like Snoop.
He doesn't do anything for me. This is a basic kind of anthology movie.
What? It's a zombie.
It was the way that apparently they do this is they do a really stupid movie on a Saturday night so you can have some shits and giggles with it or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, nope, not for me. So I pretty much went home on the Saturday, thoroughly pissed off and disappointed that this is what I was getting. Now again, I didn't know what I was supposed to. I didn't know if this was normal or anything like that. But I was severely pissed off. I thought I just watched effectively 6 shit movies back to back and wasted an entire day, and when I could have been sleeping and eating and everything.
You're not really selling it to me at the moment.
No. I've got to tell you though, that's the thing, is you just don't know what you're going to get. For every Pan's Labyrinth, there's a Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror. So, I mean, you've got to... And when you get something like that at the very beginning, it's a lot to live up to. So I can see why they put it on a Friday afternoon, but for a newbie like me, that's a very high expectation you're setting yourself. But I guess it's good that way, because then it kind of keeps you in going, there must be better, there must be better. And we got to the Sunday, and do you know what? It started out bloody good.
Oh, finally.
Yeah. A little British movie again called Broken, which if you look it up on IMDb, it's like 2006. And you've got to look for it, and it's like the poster's got like stitches in front of it. Really simple premise, gets right into it. Woman goes out on a date, she comes home, boom, something happens to her. Wakes up in the morning, she's in the middle of the woods, and this psycho's with her. That's it. That's it. You're not spoiling anything. Within 2 minutes or 5 minutes, you're there. And it's basically, she has a daughter, and she wants to know what's happened to her daughter, and she's trying to build up some sort of rapport with this psycho, so that obviously he won't kill her or rape her or eat her or do anything like that. She can get away, and it is really, really well done. I mean, It's an awesome little movie. It's one I have been difficultly trying to find. I know you can get it on DVD, but I don't want to buy it. I want to watch it on Netflix or something like that, and I'm sure it'll come around at some point. But I'm hoping that it lives up again to what I remember, because for a little kind of independent type movie, brilliant. It was very well.
Look for that.
Very well done, and I really recommend it. Now, unfortunately, I am looking at the DVD cover, and it comes out from Dimension Extreme, and the tagline they put on the box is wrong, because it says Broken makes Saw look like a children's movie. From what I remember, it doesn't. There's like no real, you can't really comparing apples and oranges. But good little movie, and I'm hoping if people out there can either have seen it or intrigued to check it out, please let me know what you thought, because I want to check this one out again. It's just a nice little way to start the day. You thought this is something that you would never see, because for me, I was snobby, that if I saw British, independent, I'd be like, fuck no, fucking stay away from it. I'm like, I'm an American with subtitles, fucking keep me as far away from that as possible.
You just make sure Danny Dye's not in it, you're probably alright.
But I've now, having experienced some good independent ones, I'm more not forgiving, but I'll go into them with a bit more open mind, rather than writing them off straight away. But the next one, this is where it gets a little bit difficult. The next one movie was called The Living and the Dead, which is a very, very bizarre movie, and I'm going to read the plot summary for it, because I've seen the trailer for this. I don't think I can do it justice with what I say about it. The plot summary basically is, in a decaying mansion in England, the former Lord Donald Brocklebank lives with his wife Nancy, who is very ill, and their schizophrenic teenage son James, who needs to use several pills to stay calm. Donald is completely broke, apparently for paying for Nancy's medical treatment, and has been pressed to sell his manor. One day, Donald needs to travel early in the morning to London for business, and he summons Nurse Mary. However, James decides to prove to his father that he is capable of taking care of his mother, and he closes all the accesses to the house and locks himself with his mother inside the house. He gives an overdose of pills to his mother, expecting to heal her, and Nancy dies.
Grim.
The way it's shot is, when you're doing the kind of schizophrenic teenage son parts, it's very fast paced, it's very jumpy, it's very loud music in your face. At this point, I'm in day 3, almost halfway through day 3, and I was tired. I wasn't enjoying the movie, to be honest, because I was like, I don't really understand what's going on. But then when the mother died and it was getting to the funeral side of things, I cried like a little bitch for 15 minutes. Really? It destroyed me.
Gosh.
And I don't know what it was, but I could not stop crying. And all I could think about was this guy at the side of me is going to think I'm fucking nuts. I don't know if it's that my emotions are heightened so much because you're so tired or everything's so intense and when you're watching. But boy, oh boy, this is a huge... I was a wreck. I came out of it shaking. It took me a long time to calm down. And I have absolutely no intention of going back and watching this movie.
Okay.
Because...
I will probably avoid it myself then. In fact, having seen the trailer, I'm pretty sure I'll avoid it because the performances look, from what I saw in the trailer, looks stunning. But it's just, I can tell it's not my kind of film.
Okay, so after I've been able to compose myself, it was a strange one going into the next one. Because from what I remember, we were asked to sign a disclaimer that we would not disclose the ending of this movie. Which is stupid because when it came to the actual advertising of the movie, the poster gave the fucking thing away. But that's obviously someone's decision. But that always makes it a little bit more intriguing, going, what the hell are we going to see? We're getting a kind of Sixth Sense-y type ending that we're not allowed to give away.
Yeah.
And I can see why they didn't want to. Because, well, the movie I'm talking about is a French movie called Eel, which is Them, which is basically a home invasion movie. To put it quite simply. This one is one that needs to be watched in a dark room with the sound turned up as loud as the sound will go. Because it was awesome. I was on the edge of my seat for about 2/3 of this movie, if not more. It was a slow boiler and stuff, but when this house invasion, from whatever it is that's causing the invasion, starts, damn, is it good. The sound plays a huge character in this in the movie because you don't know what's around the corner. You're in a room. They've got various elaborate set pieces set up where she's in an attic and there's lots of that plastic sheeting comes down. So obviously they're running around the plastic. She's running around the plastic sheeting. So all you're doing is listening out to see if you can hear any of the sheets moving or catching stuff. And love this, love it, love it, love it. I've recommended this to so many people, and I've watched it again on the small screen, and you don't need noises in the background or distractions or things like that, because I think if you get distracted from this one, you just lose the tension, and you're not really going to get back into it properly.
How was it spelled?
ILS.
Okay, yeah.
But it's called Them.
Shows I never paid attention in French.
Yeah.
Sorry, Adil.
But it's brilliant. I mean... Great little flick. I am not going to tell the ending away.
No, don't, because I'm going to watch it.
But
it's on the list.
I'm just hoping that... I don't think the ending ruined it. I think the ending was actually pretty powerful. But I'm going to say this. It was powerful at the time.
Yeah.
So, just if anyone's watching this, think about that this came before lots of other things.
Right, yeah.
Okay?
Well, I think what we should have to do is we'll do a... FrightFest Revisited, and I'll try and see everything on the list that I'm willing to see.
Yes.
and then
we can talk about it a bit
I'll
more.
let you know what I thought.
Yeah, and we can spoil some of them. But yeah, the funny thing with this one is the freebie that they gave away was a little stress ball. So you got to have a little bouncy ball, you're squeezing your hand and stuff. So that was pretty good. That's some pretty clever marketing there.
That is.
So that was a lot of fun, but I loved this movie. So I was getting myself back up on the recovery from the previous kind of disaster, or not disaster. It wasn't a disaster the way I was feeling from before. And then the next one came up was a very strange one. It's called Grim Love, which is basically a movie set around this graduate student researching a kind of real
Grim
life
fairy tales.
No, it was
no. Oh, okay.
It was big in the news early 2000s, or maybe just a couple of years before the movie came out, about the guy who goes on the internet and says, "Hey, I want to eat you."
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah.
So that's what this really kind of revolves around. Is do you want to call it found footage? I guess I do want to call it found footage. But when he was doing the eating or the seducing of the guy, it was being recorded. So she's got a hold of this recording and is doing research on it. So it was okay.
I'll put that as a maybe.
Yeah. Then we moved into The Lost, which is a pretty long 2 hours.
Eesh.
which is a long. I mean, 2 hours is a long time for any movie. This one's based on a book. Jack Ketchum, Katchum, book The Lost. So it was based on his book. I've wanted to read the book, but I haven't done so since then, and I haven't watched the movie again since then. But I want to catch up with it. It's pretty much, it kind of starts out where these people are hanging around kind of in the local wooded area, the kind of local pond or lake area, wherever the Americans go to, and this guy just decides to kill 2 women.
Okay, as you do.
Yes. A couple of his buddies see him do that, basically help him cover it up, and then it's one of these ones, X amount of years later, you're now being arrested for it. You did it. But they can't prove it, and now they're just trying to, basically, the detective knows that this guy did it, but this guy's so cocky, he's like, haha, you did it, you can't prove it, come on then. And it all...
Sounds like more of a crime drama.
It is a little bit, I guess, from going in from the horror aspect to some of the brutality towards the end, really.
Right.
More than anything, but it's not anything too outrageous.
It sounds to be, the way you're talking about it, sounds like it's a bit meh.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was very long. I didn't think it needed to be anywhere near that long, but again, it's one of these ones where watching it 2 hours on its own might be fine, but watching 2 hours out of 36 hours, it's a long time. And you just want to be getting to your bed, because this was late on the Sunday night. I want to catch up with this one again. Okay. Unlike the next one, which was, we go back into subtitle territory. We head over to France, and the movie called,
Normally
I
good,
could be
French.
wrong, Shaitan.
Oh, yes, yes. I have seen this one.
Yeah, it's just really, it's basically a bunch of young hipsters are out one night, and they head back.
Hipsters?
Is it really hipsters? Not really hipsters.
No, they're more chaff scum, I would say.
Is it not a kind of mix of both?
Well, kind of, the girls are a little bit more, but the guys are just fucking... Well, one of them in particular is just the worst kind of chav scumbag.
Yes.
He really is.
And then they
Sorry,
basically...
carry
That's
on.
okay.
You were doing the synopsis.
But then they basically go out to almost the middle of nowhere. This, I'm sure, get me if I'm wrong, 'cause it's been a while since I've seen it, but it's like in a farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere. Or area. And it turns out that basically they're getting themselves involved in a night of devil worship. And there's this one particular character who's just incredibly creepy and incredibly camp and incredibly over the top.
He has the best, amazingly, I'm smiling at you as hard as I can possibly smile, but it's probably the most unnerving facial expression you'll ever see.
Yes.
There's an amazing face. I will give him that.
And it does freak you out, but it just kind of makes you nervously giggle.
Yeah,
Or it was making me nervously giggle and going, this is a bit kind of... it's a bit in your face. There wasn't really much more redeeming about it.
No, and I had, because of the way they set up these characters, I had so little sympathy for any of the protagonists. It was just like, yeah, whatever.
Yep, just get them killed and get them over and done with.
Exactly, and the overriding mission of this whole evening, the only reason these chav scum go with this, because it's one of the girls, she says, oh, let's go back to my hometown, basically, and they drive out there. And it's just all, I want to cop a feel, and it's all about getting laid. It's just, we're going to get these girls back, and we're going to seduce them.
Yes, or so they think.
And it's totally unbelievable in respect of the way they conduct themselves. No self-respecting female would ever go anywhere near them, I don't think. Dreadful character conception and very lack of development, basically.
Again, it was a fairly, but overall, a kind of disappointing day.
Yeah,
I mean,
was that the last one of the day?
That was the last one of the day as well. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, so I think it's probably a bit 50-50. Because let's see, we started off with Broken, and then we had them, which is really good. The Lost was on the more the good side rather than the bad side. So say they're going to even it up to make it an overall, okay day. That puts us into day number 4. So we're in the kind of final run now. So the day's going to finish a little bit earlier because there's only going to be 5 movies on this day.
Right.
Starting off, which is how you really want to start off, every 8 o'clock start, is a subtitle movie, but we're in Spanish, and it's called. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it in Spanish, but basically it's H6 Diary of a Serial Killer.
Yeah, seen that too. My little I love Spanish horror, so I've been sort of going through a fair list of them, and that's one of the not so good ones. It's not dreadful, but it's no. Well,
but,
is it dreadful?
There's no. Well, the worst part is it's been sold as something a lot worse than it really is.
Yes.
Especially when you read, or I'm currently looking, thank you Tartan Video, at the DVD cover that says the Spanish answer to Hostel.
No.
Yeah, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's no one's answered to Hostel. It's not even like Hostel.
It's like somebody set out to make Hostel and accidentally made I Spit on Your Grave too, I would say.
All it is okay, let's compare it to Hostel, yeah. Is there kidnapping of people? Yes. Is there killing of people? Yes. There you go.
That's it.
That's pretty much it.
Or were the people tied up when they were killed? Yes.
I mean, I think it's very well done in the fact that the main character is a very creepy little guy. And basically he's a convicted killer who is back out now. And kind of converts back to his old ways. Yeah. And
he gets given an old whorehouse, basically, which just gives him the perfect playground to, develop his sick desires.
Yeah.
And the whole point of it is he keeps a diary to give to the police at the end of it all, kind of a thing. And it's all about his diary entries, but it's like...
It's one of these ones, again, I think could have been much better done.
The thing is, what they got wrong was they got the balance very wrong, okay? So, especially in sort of Spanish cinema, they're not quite so squeamish about, I don't suppose, sexual matters that we are, from a censorship point of view. But if you're making and marketing this as a horror film, then what you don't do is give us long, protracted scenes of him raping somebody tied to a table, and then when he comes to chop her up with a chainsaw, just show the blood squirting across the table from off scene.
Yeah.
It's like if you want that tag and you want to compare it to Hostel, in Hostel you see a man's leg cut off at the thigh with a chainsaw. You don't see anything that graphic in this film. It's all insinuated off screen with a squirty blood machine.
Yeah.
So it's like, we'll show you the rape in great detail, but we won't show you somebody getting killed, and it's like you've got the balance completely out of whack.
Yes. It's one that's probably more along the lines of thriller rather than, I guess, horror.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So we didn't start
I think I pretty much decided it is bad.
Yes. The next movie was a replacement from the movie it was supposed to be in. We were supposed to be watching a movie called Recycle, but they couldn't. For some reason, the print didn't show up in time, so they had a stand-in for it, which was again going into more subtitles, which is fine. But we're going to Thailand this time. For the movie called The Ghost of Mae Nak, which, as it pretty much tells you in the title, it's a ghost story.
Cool. I like ghost stories.
Very kind of over the toppy. Again, I didn't have any experience of Thailand cinema going into it, and I can't say I have garnered more knowledge since coming out of it. But it was okay. It had some pretty decent scares in it. Like I say, it's some over the top acting, but if you compare it to, I guess, other Asian cinema, then that seems to be the norm. So you can.
It is a bit in Thai cinema.
They're not scared about what they show you on screen. It probably had the best, from what I remember, the best death scene I saw the entire weekend, which effectively is a plate of glass falling from a crane, coming straight down, cutting a guy in half.
Cool.
Right, split through the head, right the way through everything.
Spoilers.
Yes, that's not. I guess that's a spoiler, but it's awesomely well done.
Cool.
So it is. It doesn't cut away from it. It's the special effects are really well done in it. I've never really seen a human being cut in half that way, but it kind of looked about right on the screen.
Usually when they do it, it looks really CG because that's how they do it, and you sort of see the inside, how was it, the Damien Hirst kind of cross-section of
Yes.
the human body from halfway through, but it's clearly CG.
This one did not look CG.
Cool.
I'm sure it probably was, because I'm not going to say that in Thailand they actually kill people. But the prosthetics or whatever it is they used looked very, very good. So yeah, it was
Give me, for that kind of shot, I don't care how difficult it is, and I'm not belittling CG in that obviously the glass element can be CG. What I don't want is the fleshy element to ever be CG,
Yeah.
because it is not in the least bit horrific if you can see that's what it is. Give me practical effects every single time. The Tom Savini school and people like that who just worked tirelessly to make it look as real as possible.
Well, that's what this one looked like, and I'd say the acting was a bit over the top or whatever, but there was some genuine scares in there, so it was a pretty good little, bit long.
Cool.
But I've found out a lot of that with Asian cinema, it tends to run on the longer side. But then after that was probably I don't even know how to describe the next one. It's a movie called Puritan. Again, it's a British movie, and was just awful. I mean, it was a kind of supernaturally ghost time. I think maybe some time travel was in there. Some stuff. I can't really remember much about it, other than it was just really crap. But what I do remember was there was some cast members there at the end, a bit of Q&A, and pretty much got a hard time from a particular American lady in the audience who went to task on them. And that was kind of funny. But I'm just going to skip over that one, because we're coming down to the last two movies, and the last two movies were absolutely brilliant.
Phew.
Yes. They saved, not the best, but they saved some stonkers for last. This movie, if you have not seen this movie, stop right now. Stop. No, don't stop, because you can't stop until I tell you what it is. Wait till I tell you what it is. Stop, go watch it, and then come back.
Just gonna say.
Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Oh, phew, I was just about to get up and leave the room. Thankfully, I've seen that too.
There you go. Oh,
fantastic movie.
This is just... I mean, basically, what it is it's a kind of documentary following this guy. His name, not Leslie Vernon. What's his name? What's the guy's name? I'm going to look this up while I'm talking to you. He basically... oh, no, they just class him as Leslie Vernon, but I thought he had a different name, and Leslie Vernon was his character. Anyway, it's set in a world...
Well, no, I think that's the conceit. That's kind of the joke, because it's the universe's one where Freddy Krueger, Mike Myers, they all actually existed. They were documented madmen. So, of course, you've got Mike Myers. This guy is Leslie Vernon.
Yeah, for some reason I just thought he had a different name. Just being a bit stupid. But he's basically invited this college journalist and her kind of stereotypical crew with him to go behind the scenes of a serial killer. See how they choose their prey. See how they stalk their prey. See how they set it all up. And it is unbelievably well done.
Yeah.
The performances in this are spot on. It lives up to every single stereotype you've ever seen. It's got Robert Englund in it in a fantastic cameo. It's got the little woman in it, Zelda Rubinstein in it, as the librarian.
Oh, yes, isn't it? Yeah, awesome. I forgot
that. It's got so many little nods all over to it, and it's just so funny. Basically, this guy treats it as his job. There's some really clever scenes in it where he's trying to do cardio and things, and he's like, do you know how hard it is to make it look effortlessly that you can just walk fast and catch up these people running away? It's got so many little funny scenes in it like that.
Because I can only ever look like I'm walking, but actually I've got to run really fast.
It is brilliant, and the way it cuts in is you get some documentary aspects of it, and then you get some like you're watching a proper horror movie.
Yeah.
So you are seeing it kind of from both sides, and I love this movie. I wish I...
It's a scene. There's a scene that so you got the girl. She's the obvious target kind of thing. She's working at a diner, and she sort of props the back door of the diner open, and then the door gets slammed behind her, so it's just to go around the front, and you see that as shot like a horror film
Yes.
with a horror film soundtrack, so it's creepy. Who did that? Is there somebody in the bushes? You know, it's like the pre-kill scare.
Yeah.
So she looks into the bushes, there's no one there, so she goes back around the front. Well, then a bit later on, you see the documentary footage of him going, right, you see, I've got a little bit of string on the stone that's holding the door open, I'm just going to pull that, and she's going to think there's somebody there, and then I stay here so she knows somebody's watching her. Oh, yes, really clever.
It is.
I loved that.
And I don't know whether it was the marketing of it when it came out or whatever, but I remember it getting a release, and I thought this thing was going to explode.
Yeah.
I just don't think enough people went to see it, or didn't know what it was they were going to see, or it just didn't get in as many screens. But
I heard nothing about it. I found it completely by accident on like a film rental list on Xbox, and I, for some reason, just watched it because I think I read the synopsis actually and thought, well, that's a cool concept.
yeah,
And I was blown away by it. Thankfully, it's yeah, I've never heard of it. Never saw any marketing. Nothing.
but this is, hopefully we haven't spoiled it for anybody going into it or hyped it up too much. But I don't think we have. I think if you haven't seen
shouldn't
it,
have.
check it out now.
Go now.
Yes, now. Have you watched it yet? No? Then turn off. Okay, you should have seen it by now.
Okay.
And then we ended on basically a kind of monster movie, which was The Host. I'd never seen Korean film before,
Right.
so it took a little bit of getting used to.
You have to adjust to the culture of their film a little bit.
Yes.
But,
I've watched a couple.
The Host is a fairly accessible one, actually.
Yeah, I think at the time this came out, I think they said it was the biggest movie ever in Korean cinema,
Wow.
box office wise.
I can see why.
And like I say, I wasn't sure what to expect. There's some very, very, very hokey CG in this.
There is.
It's really awful, but it's funny. I mean, again, everything's done. I can't say it's tongue in cheek because not being Korean myself, I don't know what the culture's like. But everything does seem to be a bit on the emotions raised to the next level. Everything's all screamed and everything's all over dramatic and melodramatic, and so that kind of took me out of it a little bit. But once you're going to get used to that, it's a great little, not just a kind of monster movie, but it's a great little kind of family movie. No, it's not really a family movie, is it? I guess it is. It's about
Well, it's a step above, but then,
they're trying to do to find their daughter that was taken away from him, and how he just won't stop until he gets her back. So it was a lot of fun to finish it out on.
But it was, yeah.
It's unfortunately again 2 hours long.
It was over long.
It was, yeah. It would have been nice if the movies had been switched, I guess, a little bit, and would have gone out on Behind the Mask. But I can kind of see why not, because this is a good movie you watch and then you just forget about it. You can just switch off, go home, end of festival.
I hope the FrightFest lineup has got better, because, I mean, telling us about it is like, it was about 50% okay. With a couple of...
I mean, I've been, 3 times now. And, like I say, it's been very hit and miss. If you're going to see some movies that... I mean, I want to go over the other 2 ones at some other point. But what I'll do quickly is I'll just say, okay, this is some of the movies that were worth putting up with all the crap. Okay?
Yeah.
You've got The Midnight Meat Train.
Yeah.
That one got slashed and the marketeers screwed the pooch on that one. So it was lucky that we got to see that. Let the Right One In. Got to watch that.
Yeah.
Martyrs.
Yeah.
But then you take that on the downside with, you had Mirrors with Kiefer Sutherland in it.
One of the best death scenes ever.
It does have a very good
really
death scene.
Freaked me out.
But it's a shitty ass movie. So you're kind of going, okay, you've got your good ones and then your really bad ones there. But then the next one that we went to see had, this is one we're going to really have to have a discussion on, Triangle. American Werewolf from London, the remastered one with John Landis in attendance.
Yeah, awesome.
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Trick or Treat.
Genius.
Dead Snow.
Genius.
And The House of the Devil, as well as The Descent Part 2. Okay.
That's okay.
So
they got steadily better then, basically.
it's just real hit and miss. But I mean, for every Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which doesn't really belong in there, but
No,
I know
it doesn't.
why they wanted it in there. They had the opportunity to put it there, and then we're like, you know what? This is our festival. We're putting it in there.
Yeah.
But to put that on, you screw it up with Zombie Women of Satan. You've got your complete shit in there.
Yeah.
So you've really got to. It's a mixture. I don't think you're not going to get 100% of movies are going to be completely awesome. There's going to be the guff in there, and for whatever reason they choose to put it in there. I mean, it's their festival, so they can choose what they want to do. And who are we to say at the end of the day? But when you're watching, I think it just takes 3 or 4 really, really good movies that you're going to see before anybody else. It might be a couple of days, a couple of weeks, months, years before anybody else. But that's what makes it worth it. Is you get the little gem in there, and then you can go around and tell everybody, you have to watch this movie, you have to watch this movie. And they're like, what are you talking about?
Well, this year they pre-screened Sinister. I know that. That's one of the only films I know about that they did this year.
They do little things. Now they're getting bigger and bigger. They do festivals in Glasgow now. Which things like a 2-day, 3-day festival, which I've been to one of the ones in Glasgow.
There's a little one in Leeds as well, which one of our good podcasting friends, Jonathan Wilkinson, goes to each year. There's like a mini FrightFesty type thing as well.
And then they do some things at Halloween and stuff, so they are getting bigger and bigger. And like I say, they're attracting the big name directors and stuff. But yeah, so there's just a little insight.
Well, so 2013, there'll be a little pod of horrors contingent going to FrightFest if I can get a bloody ticket.
Which would be awesome.
Sign up below.
So it would. So yeah, get your donations in so we can get boss to that one. But yeah, it'd be great if we could have a little contingent to do that. But it's a hard go. It's hard going.
I don't really want to be just the one ticket, please.
Yeah. See, I did that the first year, and I do that a lot still. So yeah, I didn't mind that. I went with a buddy a couple of years, the second and the third time, and it makes things a little bit better because you've got someone you can riff off of a little times. Especially when you come out something like Martyrs, you've just got
and cry on each other's shoulders.
You've just got someone to hug for a while and everything. But that was just a little taster, and hopefully it gives you some movies to check out, but also to understand. It's pretty hard going.
Well, looking at my list, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 films that I want to see out of that list that I haven't seen. So I will get to that, and at some point we'll revisit it. So
that's not bad. And like I say, when we do the other 2 ones I've been to, then it's just going to grow and grow and grow. Or possibly you'll have seen more. But I can tell you which ones you can really avoid, because there are some clunkers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. We'll get to that at a later show. So I think I've talked enough and bored people long enough. So I think we should just draw this one to a close.
The end of the Gordon show.
Yes, the end of the Gordon show. We'll make you talk the next time, all the time.
Right, okay then.
We'll find something you can do and I can sit back and just relax. But once again...
Well, that's easy. That's just anything that's been on the cinema. Oh, there isn't anything on the cinema. There's a show in itself.
Well, yeah, we'll find something. We'll find something for you to talk about in great depth.
Okay.
But on that note, I'd like to thank you very much, Mr. Boz.
You're welcome, sir. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you all for sticking with us again for yet another show. And if you have any comments, please just drop us a line at thelittlepodofhorrors@gmail.com. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you would like to send an email to the show, please do so at thelittlepodofhorrors@gmail.com. Also, why not go along to the website at www.thelittlepodofhorrors.com, and from there you can find links to our Twitter, Facebook, Google+, forum and blog page. Thanks for listening.
Actually, I should do this properly, shouldn't I? This is prepared for you.
Okay.
Edit this out for me.
Edit.
I have nothing to say about it unless I look it up.
Nothing to say about it.
I see.
I see a gag reel coming up.
Yeah. Okay.